you're saying it one-sided. You're not telling the other side of the story on what they're doing either. You're not saying what Hamas did. You're not saying what they did.
What did Hamas do?
I mean, from day one, when you see the rapes and the videos, we've all seen it. This isn't something
What rapes and videos?
But stay on this here if you want to continue with this.
No, but what rapes and videos?
But my concern when you're saying Israel's doing it, you're saying the other side isn't doing anything?
No, but I'm asking. There was no rapes during October 7th. They've shown no rapes from October 7th. They showed no beheaded babies. All that was all bullshit.
I'll send you stuff. No, there's plenty of stories. It's not all of them.
The Israeli articles that I saw recently said that there was only 2 babies killed. One was shot by a bullet and the other one died in a hospital. There was no babies in ovens. There was no beheaded babies. All that was all bullshit.
If you believe truth matters more than narratives and that accountability is non-negotiable, hit that subscribe button. Let's build a community that actually defends democracy and evidence. Here's what really happened. Patrick Bet-David just got exposed, not by a policy expert, not by a seasoned debater, but by Dan Bilzerian. Yes, Dan Bilzerian, walking onto the Valuetainment set and systematically dismantling Patrick's talking points on Palestine. Patrick's carefully curated debate persona, it cracked in real time, right there on camera. The usual excuses, the "we've all seen the footage" routine, collapsed instantly. And here's the key insight. This isn't just embarrassment, it's a lesson in accountability. When someone's argument relies on repetition rather than evidence, it only takes one unfiltered confrontation to reveal the truth. Watch closely. Dan didn't come armed with ideology. He came armed with questions, facts, and a refusal to let a narrative go unchallenged. And as you see Patrick scrambling, it becomes obvious. Defending a story without facing the full truth is not debate. It's performance. Stay with me through this video. I'll break down exactly how Dan turned Patrick's own claims against him, and why the internet is calling this one of the most self-inflicted collapses in valuetainment history. But first, tell me where you're watching from, city or country, so I can give you a shout out in the next upload. And of course, like, subscribe, and tap the bell, because the truth you're about to hear, beat. It's unbelievable.
Okay, no, every country, the big ones all have lobbyists. They all have lobbying that they're doing.
Not in the U.S. They're registered as foreign entities.
Right. I mean, if you're talking about, are you going to the dual citizenship part with Israel, Israel?
That's another problem is a lot of our politicians have far more allegiance to Israel than they do the United States. I mean, that's a whole other issue as well.
Do you know why they did the dual citizenship? Do you know the history behind why they did the dual citizenship?
What do you mean?
Like, so the whole concept of dual citizenship was because when Israel became a, country again, they didn't want the people from here who wanted to go back to Israel that didn't have a motivation to go if they were going to lose their citizenship here. So that was the reason why they did it. It was kind of like, okay, you're your own country. We kind of need some of you guys to move over there to help the country out. Yeah, but I'm not going to go. Why are you not going to go? Am I going to lose my citizenship here? But you are. I mean, we don't do that. Every other country, I don't want to lose my citizenship. Well, okay, how about if we do this? How about if we allow you, just Israel, to go back to your country, you won't lose your citizenship? That was the arrangement at the beginning why they did it that way.
No, look, I get it. I have 3 citizenships. You know what I mean? I think it's okay. I think
what's the third one? I know Armenia, but what's the
St. Kitts.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't have an issue with dual citizenship. My issue is when somebody is holding a U.S. office and they are putting a foreign nation's interest before America's interest, and they are favoring that other country. And so that to me is treason. Like when you are a U.S. government official, your motivation should be to do things in the best interest of the government that you are representing, not 100%. Some other fucking foreign country. And that's the problem.
Okay, so but go through it. So what is the solution? Meaning, if Israel's the enemy, then if let's just say you don't do anything and everybody in the Middle East unites to take out Israel, do you think the Middle East is better without Israel? And do you think the world's a safer place without Israel?
100%. It's not even close.
Okay, tell me why. Why do you think?
Give me an argument otherwise, please.
But
give me one argument why the world would be better off with Israel. Let's just start with that. One thing. Give me one thing.
Have you ever lived in the Middle East?
No.
I lived there for 10.5 years. It's a very, it's not as like here. You can sit here, you can be an atheist, you can be an agnostic, I can be a Christian. He can be a Jew. He can be an LDS, Muslim, no problem. We can coexist here. You can do that in Israel. You can do that.
I mean, not really. They're operating apartheid right now. So everybody's not living equally.
Not at the level of Iran. Not at the level of what Iran is doing. I mean, in Iran, if you're thinking what Israel is doing out of control, do you know how much money Khamenei's family's made? Do you know how much money they've taken? They have 200.
I've never been to Iran, but I've been to Dubai. I've been to Saudi. Like I've been to UAE. So like, and they're all Muslim. They seem to be operating fine.
I would say Iran's slightly different than. But go back to it. So okay. So you think the Middle East and the world would be a better place if Israel didn't exist?
Yes.
Okay.
Israel's committed, so many terrorist attacks. They're stealing land right now. They're operating in apartheid. They're currently committing a genocide on Palestinians. Like, do you believe in the genocide they're committing?
I think they're fighting for themselves and they're defending themselves.
Do you think that's defense?
Well,
when 1,200 people died, and of which the 1,200 you've killed and admitted that you've killed a lot during, your Hannibal.
I will tell you this. The part I question where people who are Jewish can't stand when I say this, I don't know how you, Netanyahu, claim you have the best intelligence in the world, Mossad, and you didn't know that on October 7th they're attacking
you. About it. They didn't. They wanted it to happen, so they had a reason to take that. Yeah, they wanted a reason to take the land.
I totally get it.
And they killed their own citizens. And they claimed that all these people got. That was bullshit. They claimed beheaded babies. That was bullshit. Everything that they said was a fucking complete. Not only was it a lie, but they committed all those atrocities themselves to the Palestinians and been caught doing it. In fact, they just got caught gang Palestinians. How many babies have they killed? All the things that they accuse the Palestinians of, or Hamas of, or whatever, they're guilty of 100-fold themselves. And they've been doing that. Like October 7th wasn't the start of this. Like the start of this was Nakba. They've done so many different.
Disagree. Yeah, I don't disagree.
Yeah, so I mean, this is not like, it's not like October 7th is like, it's all of a sudden they just came over there unsolicited and just killed people. Like they have been killing Palestinians for years and years, operating two sets of justice. It's like they have the justice for the Palestinians and the justice for the Israelis. And if you read the Talmud, like, if you're not Jewish, you're basically not a human. You're like, like cattle. If a Jew is killed by, somebody that's not Jewish, then it's the death penalty. If a Jew kills somebody that's not a Jew, then, you can't kill them. It's not the death penalty. Like they literally like segregate in their Bible.
They're very protective of themselves. I don't think anybody can debate that. I don't think it's a.
Well, it's not the problem isn't that they're protective of themselves. The problem comes when you think that you're better than other people and you think it's okay to lie to anybody that's not a Jew. You think it's okay to steal from people that are not a Jew. You have two sets of standards. The problem with that is it allows you to rationalize anything, right? And human beings are generally self-serving creatures. So if your fundamental religious belief system allows you to operate in such a way that you believe there isn't consequences to stealing from other people, killing other people, raping, kids that are under 9 years old, like if you think those things are okay, then, how are you going to operate? Because to me, like my moral code keeps me on track.
I don't think that's what it is. I don't think it's because you're saying it one-sided. You're not telling the other side of the story on what they're doing either. You're not saying what Hamas did. You're not saying what they did.
What did Hamas do?
I mean, from day one, when you see the rapes and the videos, we've all seen it. This isn't something
what rapes and videos?
But stay on this here if you want to continue with this.
But what rapes and videos?
But my concern when you're saying Israel's doing it, you're saying the other side isn't doing anything?
No, but I'm asking. There was no rapes during October 7th. They've shown no rapes from October 7th. They showed no beheaded babies. All that was all bullshit.
I'll send you stuff. No, there's plenty of stories. It's not all of them.
The Israeli articles that I saw recently said that there was only 2 babies killed. One was shot by a bullet and the other one died in a hospital. There was no babies in ovens. There's no beheaded babies. All that was all bullshit.
Here's what this debate truly exposes. Patrick Bet-David's performance becomes glaringly revealing when you slow down and notice not just what he says, but what he carefully avoids, what he dodges, and what he quietly hopes the audience never detects. The fragility of his argument is exposed the moment Dan presses him for substance beyond recycled talking points and emotionally charged claims. Patrick presents himself as a logic-driven, evidence-first thinker, someone who values verification and critical evaluation of narratives. But that identity crumbles instantly when he is asked to support claims that cannot withstand scrutiny. Dan calls out the October 7th shock narratives, the viral stories of atrocities, supposed mass rapes, and beheadings. Patrick struggles to provide evidence, offering only vague statements like, "We've all seen the videos," or "I'll send you stuff." That's not evidence, it's deflection. The irony here is sharp. Israeli authorities themselves have publicly confirmed that many of these early claims were either unverified or outright false. Investigations, military reports, and internal communications all show no verified proof of the atrocities Patrick cites. Multiple Israeli publications, including Haaretz, Times of Israel, and Yedioth Ahronoth, have documented how wartime confusion, rumor, and political manipulation created narratives that went viral before verification. When Patrick continues treating these claims as unquestionable fact, he's not defending truth. He's defending the emotional comfort of a narrative that supports his preconceptions. The second major fracture comes when Dan challenges him on Israel's treatment of Palestinians. Dan brings up apartheid, not a term invented by activists, but a legal reality documented by Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, Israeli NGOs like B'Tselem, and even former Israeli officials. There's one legal framework for Jewish citizens and settlers, and another for Palestinians living under occupation. Palestinians cannot vote for the government that controls their lives, borders, land ownership, or access to resources. Settlers enjoy full civil rights. Palestinians live under military law. Patrick waves it off, treating the term apartheid as an exaggeration. He refuses to confront documented evidence, revealing that he debates not from knowledge, but from ideological rigidity. Patrick further sanitizes Israel's regional impact, claiming the Middle East wouldn't be safer without it. Yet he ignores measurable metrics: forced displacement, dozens of violated UN Security Council resolutions, Israel's nuclear monopoly, historic invasions, and massive civilian casualties. He omits Israel's long history of regional conflict, from Iraq and Syria to Lebanon, including the 1982 Lebanon invasion that killed over 17,000 civilians. Personal anecdotes of feeling safe in Tel Aviv cannot erase the oppression in Gaza, the West Bank, East Jerusalem, or the dozens of demolished villages across Area C. Comfort does not equal truth. The most glaring failure is his refusal to acknowledge the massive power imbalance between Israel and Palestinians. Israel is not a vulnerable underdog. It is a military superpower backed by unlimited U.S. support. It controls airspace, borders, water, resources, imports, exports, and the movement of millions of Palestinians. Yet when Patrick calls Israel's bombardment defense, he ignores proportionality, occupation, and international law, all codified under the Geneva Conventions. Self-defense does not justify war crimes, collective punishment, or indiscriminate bombing of civilians. That's fact, not opinion. Patrick's fallback line, "They're defending themselves," only works if you erase context, erase history, erase the blockade, erase the occupation, erase settlements, home demolitions, restricted medical access, checkpoints, and the reality that Palestinians have no sovereignty over their land. Without acknowledging these facts, his argument is structurally hollow. Even when Dan raises the issue of dual citizenship and foreign influence in U.S. policy, Patrick sidesteps the point. He gives a sentimental history lesson about Israel in 1948 rather than addressing how lobbying and foreign allegiances shape American decisions today. Ignoring this reality exposes a critical blind spot. Patrick is unwilling to confront systemic imbalances because doing so would destabilize his entire narrative. By the time the debate progresses, Patrick no longer appears as someone presenting a reasoned argument. He looks like someone desperately trying to prevent the conversation from reaching uncomfortable truths he cannot answer. Dan isn't playing politics. He's not emotionally invested in defending a narrative. Patrick is, and it shows in every dodge, every slogan, every hypothetical he clings to instead of evidence. The irony becomes almost cinematic. Dan, the person few expected to deliver a geopolitical uppercut, systematically exposes the fragility of Patrick's reasoning. The more Patrick tries to hold his argument together, the more he unintentionally reveals the reality. He is not defending truth. He is defending a version of reality he wishes were true, shielding himself from moral and factual accountability. And that, more than anything, is why his argument collapses.